Alright, so to get started with wet blending, what we're going to do is we're going to block out the three major tonal areas on our base in this instance. So I'm going to start with my dark, and we're basically just throwing on just an absolute ton of paint where we want it. That's kind of the idea behind wet blending, is that you leave enough paint on your area that it is wet enough when you come back and are ready to start blending the colors together. So I'm going to start by throwing on a whole bunch of this dark paint for my lowest tone on this ice base, this water base. Underneath, what I'm going to do is a clear coat of resin and scratch it to make it look like ice. So there's my dark. I'm going to come back in. I'm going to lay in quite a bit of my mid-tone right against that dark, keeping that paint thick where they meet, so I have plenty when I come back and blend. Now what I like to do is I like to water these paints down, probably about a 30-70 water to paint mix, just to make them go a little further. This technique does use quite a bit of paint, just because you're really piling it on whatever you're painting. So keeping those layers real thick and juicy. Now I'm coming back in here with my light tone. I'm going to fill in the rest of this blocked out area. Again, keeping it really thick so I have plenty of paint for blending. Now as far as for water goes, I recommend kind of taking some stranger, more natural shapes. It's kind of depending on what you're doing. I like to keep it interesting, like so. Now here, it looks like I'm kind of running out of my dark paint, so it's not a big deal if that starts to happen to you. It starts to dry up a little bit. Just come back in with that paint, that tone, and just add it back in where they're gonna meet. Once you get that the way you like it, you're gonna come in and start blending. All you gotta do to blend is wiggle, pretty much just wiggle your brush at that point where those two different tones meet. That is going to do your blending for you. Kind of the size of your wiggle, I guess is what I'll call it. Kind of depends on how far you want your blend to carry in. And you can kind of control which way it blends by how far you travel in a certain direction. Like if I want my mid-tone to travel more into my dark tone, I just take the stroke further in that direction. It's not a big deal. I can already tell right here, I'm kind of getting low on my mid-tone, so I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more in that area, because I need enough to be able to blend the light tone. Right now, I don't think I would have enough. Alright, now we're going to wiggle it into the light. Now here I'm doing a little less of a wiggle and more of a stroke from the medium to the light to pull more of the medium pigment into the light area, just because the size difference, the area that is medium was a lot smaller than the area that was light. And if I don't want my medium tone just to totally vanish in the blend, I need to move that pigment a certain direction. Alright, here we have 4 separate bases that I use these colors and this wet blending technique on. You can see it's pretty easy to add a lot of character to a base, but just based off of the shapes that you take, the way you blend your colors. I hope you learned something from this quick little video that I made. Maybe next time you can try some wet blending.